Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you? One of the things that I wanted to tell you is, and I'm going to be updating those to where they do a little better on the search engine so they get out there a little better. I have a playlist out there called GMOs versus Common Sense. Now, it's got a lot of information, lots of videos, okay? But it was basically a forewarning in doing the research for this thing, and it took massive amount of research on this. I discovered and stumbled across, it began to tie into like the Agenda 21 stuff out of the UN and things of this nature. And yes, that is a real thing. It's not a conspiracy theory. They've got maps in the whole shooting match, okay? To where you can go look at what they plan to make wilderness zones and what is going to be for human occupation and what is going to be for recreation for humans and things of this nature. To give you some idea, the great state of Tennessee is going to be a wilderness zone that humans are not allowed in. A bunch of Tennesseans are going to be ticked to hear that. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. But it has a lot to do with the way that we've been producing food. Industrial farming is destroying this planet. It has about depleted our aquifer systems all over the country, all over the world. People are running out of water. Water is going to be the new gold if we don't figure out how to stop this. Regenerative agriculture is a way to rebuild those aquifers because you're getting water back into the ground again. It's a way to stop a lot of these droughts. A lot of these droughts, when you pull enough moisture out of the ground, you begin to affect the air flows above that ground, and that's how desertification of farmland happens. You go from lush green farmland to desert. It doesn't take a lot of time. We're doing that. We're doing that right now. The herbicide usage and so forth is pretty bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all looking for population reductions, and they're getting them because, we've got more diseases than you can shake a stick at. And part of this goes into, in that playlist, it goes into this. A lot of diseases out there like Alzheimer's and so forth are directly linked to Roundup herbicide. They say, if I remember correctly, and it's been a while since I did those videos up, what scientists deem as a perfect coefficient rating. More or less, if something hits 100%, then they know that is the environmental issue causing a human problem. Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is at a 99.7% coefficiency rating to the use of Roundup herbicide. 99.7%. That's pretty much where most scientists say, hey, that's a problem. Autism in children. 99 point, I think it was 8 or 9. It was like almost at 100. There are different types of autism, so forth, and like I said, in those videos, when you look at when we started using Roundup, the number of children per year that got autism was very small, very small. And year by year, with the use of Roundup herbicide, the number of children coming down with autism has just skyrocketed. And it tracked right with it. The one figures that really got me, when you're talking about coefficient ratings, you want to look at, here's what we think might be causing this. How does the disease track with the usage of a product or this, that, or the other? In 2015, Roundup wasn't working for farmers. In the 2014 season, Roundup wasn't killing the super weeds. So farmers cut back on using Roundup because it didn't work. It was a waste of money. You might as well have been out there sprinkling the ground with water. It just wasn't working for them. So 2014, 2015 growing season flattened out Roundup sales. Now keep in mind, it had been on a pretty steep increase from the 1970s. When 2014 come along, it levels out. From 1970, autism was on the same spike. Matter of fact, you could virtually overlay it over the chart of Roundup usage. Guess what happened in the 2014, 2015? Autism cases leveled out. Roundup went back into use. So did autism. It was some ridiculous coefficiency rating to where it wasn't even off by 0.01%. It was like in the thousands. So for certain types of autism, scientists could point their finger at Roundup herbicide use. It's in your food, people. Okay? Number one, when you buy something at a store, it's in your food. One case, and what was really interesting, and that's what got a French scientist on to checking into what was going on with these inert ingredients that nobody knew what they were, was Roundup glyphosate should pass right through your body. According to research, it should just pass through your body. They know you're getting it in you from the food, but Monsanto's research showed it just passes right through you, that there is no way for it to get inside your cells. And then when this French researcher started looking at the inert ingredients that Roundup wouldn't tell anybody about, suddenly they found that there was a chemical, a surfactant, put in there that causes the breakdown of cell wall lining in plants. That's how Roundup kills them, gets into the cell walls. And in humans. And they were finding things like glyphosate in mother's milk, human mother's milk, glyphosate in cells, glyphosate in a lot of places it wasn't supposed to be. Now, the University of Washington had a researcher come in and do a study, and they published that going, see, it wasn't Roundup. Roundup didn't do that. They're full of beans. Yeah. Then you find out that the research was funded by Monsanto, done by a professor who was married to the same guy that gave us mad cow disease from Roundup, or not from Roundup, from other Monsanto products, who made a small fortune working for Monsanto. Most of the researchers working on the project were from Monsanto. Okay. To the point that this report had come out when I was doing this research. And it was up on the, I don't want to pick on Washington State University, okay, but it was up on their website. And when this started coming out, they immediately took it down. Because this wonderful professor lady, she was out going, oh, this has been peer reviewed and so forth, and the scientific community came back and says, no, it has not. Matter of fact, you tried to submit how they did their research for peer review, and it was shot down just by the way the samples were being handled. They would take the samples, and then they would send them back to St. Louis to Monsanto, where Monsanto would do the tests on them and come back and say, oh no, there's no glyphosate in that. So they debunked this, the only research that claimed it wasn't Roundup. The only research out there that says, no. Monsanto's right, it just passes through you. The only research. And it got blown up. So that's part of it. But in the process of all this, you found a plan. They know they can't keep using it. And the plan is that farmland is going to be taken over by large corporations. And they're going to be using mechanized systems and things of this nature. But they're going to have to go back to regenerative agriculture, which is extremely, extremely labor intensive. But it will take care of the agriculture situation. So it requires two things to happen. One, you're going to have a very large labor force, which would normally be a problem unless you passed a law that says that we can, if we're having a food crisis, we can make you come work on the farm for no pay. That law's on the books. A lot of people say, well, why would the government put a law on the books like that? They'd never enforce that. Yeah. They wouldn't have put it on the books if they didn't intend to use it at some point in time. Okay? So it's there. Second thing, you have to get a hold of all this land. A lot of it. Hundreds and hundreds and millions of acres. Okay? Something that came to light here recently, which kind of shocked me, was we have little Billy Boy Gates out running around all over this country buying farmland and taking it out of production. Now, he could probably say, well, I'm doing it for environmental reasons. Okay? Well, the problem is, you keep taking farmland out of production, son, you're going to create a food crisis. But it seems like little Billy Gates, he's not buying like 10 acres here and 20 acres there. He's buying like 200,000-300,000 acres over here and 200,000 or 300,000 acres over there. He's buying lots of farmland. Right here in the good old US of A. That was part of, and if you go through that, it's so long, there's so many videos in that thing. It is laid out in here. That is the plan. Is that these corporations, which by the time they're done, will be one corporation. One mega corporation. And we've already seen it with the mergers and so forth. Virtually in the herbicide area, things of this nature, you're down to Bayer, which owns Monsanto and everybody else. I think it's down to 2 or 3 when I did the videos. Seed manufacturers, they've gathered up seed supplies. It's pretty wild. Where these companies are taking control, total control, of the food source, and they're kind of kicking the farmers off to the curb. Why? Well, John Deere's been busy working on tractors and trucks and so forth, and combines that can be ran like drones. All that technology and GPS technology and so forth. Don't need a farmer in there. A little guy sitting in a control room, they estimate could farm millions of acres at a time. Now, the only problem is through RA, you got to get rid of those weeds. You can't spray anymore, so you got to get rid of those weeds, which means you're going to put somebody out in those fields pulling weeds, aren't you? Well, that didn't spend a lot of time getting a PhD at college. You get my drift. I guess they will need some post hole diggers. It's all there. This is not by accident. This is just not, things are happening. No. They're happening, but they're planned. And this plan has been around for a long, long, long time. Guess what? I was even talking back then, now this is in 2015, 2016, where they would set up some people to get involved with censoring censoring social media, censoring dissenters, censoring like these foodie people. So internet censoring has been going on for a long time, just kept under the curtain. Understand, this is not by accident. This is planned. I don't know that you can change it, but you need to wake up. It's a plan, folks, and it's been going on for a long time. And they're pretty blatant with it. You got drawings, maps, and 8x10 glossies down there at the UN. They're quite proud of their program. They keep having to push it back. I'm sure Donald Trump pushed them back for about 4 years. They had to wait to get rid of him first. But yeah, it's a plan. Laws are already on the books. They don't even have to write any new laws for you. All they got to do is start claiming emergencies. Yeah. Pandemic, shutting down most businesses. You got to do something. Government will tell you, oh, we can't afford welfare anymore. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you that little one-bedroom apartment we got sitting over there in this little city that's inside the common area. And we'll let you work the farm. And that way you have a place to live. You have food in your belly. Life is good, isn't it? It's the plan. See, they're going to take the rest of what you own. They've been robbing the world blind for years. Decades. Eisenhower tried warning you about it. Reagan tried warning you about it. A lot of presidents. John F. Kennedy probably lost his life trying to stop it. Check out that GMO versus common sense. That was primarily started out to find out what the hazards of this stuff was. And the more you went down that rabbit hole, the more you began to go, wow, this is much bigger than farming. They're coming for the rest of your wealth. They're tired of holding elections. They're tired of fooling with you. You have the elites, and you're going to have the servants. See, we're all headed for the plantation. Don't take it personal. It's just economics. And those with the gold become the rulers. Understand that. That's what all the madhouse is in Washington, D.C. They want to be in charge when it comes time to select rulers. Welcome to America. Constitutional Republic. Just in words. No meaning of it left. The U.S. Constitution is nothing more than an old document written by some very smart men under glass in a museum in Washington, D.C. And you are going to get to live with the consequences of it being no longer the supreme law of this land. God love yous. And I'll keep my eyeballs open, but wake up. Wake up. It may take them some time to get it all done. If you're awake, at least you'll be planning for it. Okay? Really do love you guys. Really do appreciate you. Just need to wake up. Y'all take care.